And yet another instance of both of you sitting on her channel and invalidating the victims.
No respect for doing that. Absolutely none. I'm sorry. I'm not going to call her a lady or a woman. She's not. She's not. Someone that disrespects a grieving family like that, I'm sorry. It's disgusting.
I agree. And I don't think that your children should be brought into anything. However, you did the same thing on your platform. I posted it yesterday. You used a baby voice to mock the alumni, my friends, that have passed away. So, you might want to take a look at that.
You know,
And Jimmy didn't teach music at the school either.
I played music. I taught kids how to play the
He
guitar
played music,
all around,
but he didn't teach music.
No, I didn't teach music.
And he is accredited, and he is accomplished, and he is qualified. And if he wasn't, he couldn't have been an adjunct professor at a New York State college. So keep up with that lie.
I have a Master of Arts in Mathematical Sciences. I mean, you know.
Well, I'm not here to debate your husband's education. I could give you my experience, right? And I was there from June of 96 to October of 97, and most of those teachers did not have any certification. They had recovery time. Whether that's true or not for your husband, I have no idea.
And get justice for it. I told you. You will. You will be accountable for what you did to my kids. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. No, I'm not going to get over it. I'm going to get justice. Get it through your head.
That is how each and every one of us feels. Each and every one of us feel like we deserve justice because we were abused at the hands of adults that were charged with helping us. You see how that works? Do you see how that goes? Okay, so the way that you feel about whatever's going on in that situation, we feel the same way.
The stuff you're saying about my husband and everything, keep going. You better check yourself on that one, because you are going to be liable for a hell of a lot. Keep going, though.
So I'm always amazed at people that do this, right? Where you never expected the students to come forward. Is that what it is? Because you said that pretty with conviction, right? So did you not think that the students would come along to corroborate what those people have been saying for a year? Or you didn't think about that? Or did you not, you ignored it and you just sat there so confidently saying these things that are incorrect?
So, I mean, like, I don't want to go down in the gutter with these people and play down in the gutter. But I will say, you know, I have so many friends on Facebook that were my students. They're still my friends. There is not one person, nobody at the school, nobody ever have I ever done anything like that. I have not abused anybody, sexually abused anybody. I have nothing. I'm not worried about it.
So I said it before and I'll say it again. You may not have been aware of the sexual abuse, right? But you cannot deny the fact that you knew that there was abuse going on, right? And you did nothing. You cannot deny the story of the boy that I told yesterday at 17. You put your hands on his throat. You can't deny these things. These are examples of physical abuse.
Anybody that they get, I don't think they could get anybody to say that. I don't understand how.
Oh well, they could get a fake person. And if you do that, boy, you will go to prison.
It would have to maybe make up, do a name, and then that person, the real person, whoever that name is that went to the school, going to say, "What the freak are you doing?"
Right.
They didn't have to do that. They just had to wait for students because we're around, right? And this happens by chance. Somebody gave me your channel once I started talking about the school, right? So it doesn't, nobody had to create a fake name or a name of a student and pretend. Nobody had to do that because this is real. This is real. And the abuse that you took part in is real.
Right, and then they didn't file the police report. They went to Natasha Cooper.
I mean, if there's a legal recourse, that's the only way I would go with this. I would not want to. I'm not going to get down to gutter and play around. I just hope that you're just saying that crap.
I find it weird that you're saying that we didn't file a police report, but your husband worked there for years and didn't file a police report. The police were told not to believe us. The police were told that we were liars, we were manipulators, we didn't want to be there. You know, the same things that your husband is saying. That's not the case. There was abuse there. There was abuse there, right? So why didn't your husband go to the police, witnessing, taking part in abuse? Why didn't he file a police report?
You pull somebody out that says Jimmy did anything to them, you're a liar, and then, yeah, why don't they have a police report? Why didn't they file an action? They're talking to you?
Yeah.
Where's the name? No, then she's going to go to prison if she makes that up.
I'll tell you why. Want to know why? Because the first year when you get out of the family school, your head is so fucked, right? You have to unlearn everything that they've been telling you, which was completely incorrect, right? So I would say that it takes the average student, maybe they get that shit together 3, 5, 7 years, right? By that time, the statute of limitations is up, right? So that's why there hasn't been any actions filed. The only reason that there were students able to file in New York is because they threw the statute of limitations out for a year. I think it rounds up being 2 because of COVID, but you get my drift, right? That's the only reason that this was able to happen, right? So again, you're sitting on your platform and invalidating our stories, right? They're our stories to tell. They're not yours.
I want to do it like next week. I wanted to do it this week here, but I'm going to tell you guys my story, and you know, and you'll see whatever my story is, and see how many people will believe that I did anything like that, you know. So you know, it's just, as far as getting in the gutter, I don't want to play down there with you.
I'm not denying that you have a good story, right? But you having a good story does not mean anything when it comes to what I am talking about. I'm not talking about the problems that other people have with you. I'm here to be the voice of those students, okay? Because I think that you are severely underestimating what we go through, right? Put your, you know, you went through childhood abuse, whatever that is, but then you did the same thing. You did the same thing. I know that might be really fucking hard for you to understand, but it's the truth.
Jimmy, telling them that is going to make them do it more.
I wish they would. Okay, so, well, that's okay. I wish they would. I mean,
because they're horrible, evil people.
And now
they don't care. They're horrible, evil people.
Horrible, evil people are the ones discussing the abuse that went on at that school, or the horrible, evil people, the ones that took part in the abuse at the school. Because I think we have very different ideas of what horrible and evil are, okay? Horrible and evil is knowing that children are being abused and not lifting a fucking finger to stop it. That's horrible and evil. Just so you know, somebody talking about the family school and what went on there, that doesn't make them horrible and evil. What?
You never hurt anybody sexually or any kind of way like that ever. No, never.
I've never sexually assaulted anybody. I've never sexually abused anybody.
So I will say that is not an accusation that I personally have come across. No student has brought or told me anything about him being involved in sexual abuse, okay? I think that what you're going to find is what I'm not going to do is sit on this platform and say what wasn't factual, right? I will say what I know to be fact, right? While you're sitting on yours and discrediting everything that we went through. You don't see how that could be problematic?
Abuse anybody. Guess what? When I worked at the school, I made sure I was never could that possibly happen. I never put myself in any position where anything could even get near the line. I was a good guy. I was going to show them there are people in this world who you never have to. You can feel good about being around if you wanted to. I mean,
I'm sure that there are students that have that experience with you, but what about the ones that don't? What about the ones that don't? What about the boy's story that I read yesterday, where he told you that you haunt his nightmares? Does that not bother you inside? Because I would never want to be that person. to a student.
I know there's guys that take advantage of some of these kids all the time, and then they worry, but no, there are guys that are good guys, and I was going to be a good guy and I was a good guy there. I mean, everybody will say that.
I'll say it again. A good guy would have worked there 3-4 hours and went immediately to the nearest authorities to report what they were seeing. That's what a good guy would have done, right? And you see this with the school in Jamaica, right, where the 7 kids were just taken out of. That's what all of us wanted. Every day we would daydream that somebody was going to come and rescue us. Not a single staff member did the right thing and called authorities.
Ivy Lynn with your best friend, the choir director, he couldn't stand the choir director. I couldn't stand the choir director. He fought like crazy with the choir director.
I didn't really feel like crazy. Me and him, we've had it out. I don't like the guy.
He couldn't stand him. It wasn't his friend. Guy
wants to ruin your like.
It wasn't his friend.
That may be true. I can't tell you, right? But you knew, right? But you knew. You want to know how I know that you knew? Because the staff protected that man, right? The staff knew that he was sexually abusing students, and all they would do was move him around, right? Throw sanctions on the females that were accusing him of sexual assault, right? So you had to know. You knew, right? And again, failed to report it.
He was a total jackass. He knows what I think of him, and and they've called me into office regarding my little interactions with him, and I said, okay, this is why I did it, and then and that's still the way I feel, and that's the way it's going to be. He has nothing to do with me.
I believe that. You want to know why? Because Paul was creepy, right? And I'm sure that you've heard some of the things that he would say to students, right? Highly inappropriate. The conversations that he would have with students were highly inappropriate, right? I don't know. I'm going to have to read the deposition again, right? Because I remember seeing your name in there, but I want to get a better handle. That was before we got into this situation. So I'm going to go and read it again, and I'll report back.
Let me just say, just check it out before you go and believe something, there's not anybody you're going to find that's going to say that I abused him, or any people from the school going to say nothing but good things about me. I'm proud of my work I did at the school there.
I don't know that I would be proud. I don't know if that's the word that I would use if I was a teacher at that school. I think that was a bad choice of words, right? But it happens, right? But what I will absolutely say is you can't make statements like that, right? And I understand that you think that you're protecting her channel, right? But we deserve better, right? And I get this vibe that now that I'm here, right, and I could counteract the things that y'all have been telling your platform, right, which is not accurate events at all. Like, let's be honest, right? Because that's what's the crazy fucking part to me, right? Y'all drilled in our heads honesty, right? Purity, right? Selflessness, right? Integrity, accountability. Where is it? Where is it? Because from where I'm standing, y'all look like a bunch of fucking hypocrites. A bunch of hypocrites, right? We were abused over those values, okay? Y'all don't have them, and we do.
And regardless of what went on before I got there, or, if I ever thought or anything was going on like that, I would be all over it, and so and anything that was even remotely odd, if I ever thought that, I went to somebody and spoke to them about it. So, and nobody would ever do that around me or let me think of that.
Not an accurate statement, is it, Jimmy? It can't be an accurate statement, Jimmy, right? Now, do I think that you might have gone to other staff members that were partaking in abuse to report abuse? Come on. Did you think they were going to do something? Did you think they were going to do something? You know what I want to know? I want to know if you have nightmares. That's what I want to know. I want to know if there are students that haunt your dreams. I want to know if there are students that you have had hands in abusing, if you think about them at all. Because as we saw yesterday, you didn't even remember those events, right? But events like that, they're burned into our minds, and they play head games on us for years, right? So do you think about that? I am interested in that answer, by the way.
And but that's it. If I saw anything like that, I would be all over it. And I didn't really see much. I saw people get frustrated. Staff, because they don't know what to do in situations. But I was always there. I would always help out as much as possible if I was there. But most of the time, I taught. And but I did work a lot on weekends. And the kids like me. There's not anybody gonna. I'm not worried about that.
You saw people getting frustrated. You saw people getting frustrated. That's your response. You didn't see kids on hardcore work sanctions that were absolutely undeserved. You didn't see kids sitting in the corner for hours, days, months sometimes. You didn't see any of that. You didn't see students being retaliated against. You didn't see any of that. You didn't see students verbally abused, told they were whores, that they were going to die in a ditch if they didn't comply at the program. You didn't see any of that?
I'm not worried about that. The only thing you could do is get somebody to lie.
All of that blanket stuff you hear happened before Jimmy even worked there. Wasn't even you don't even know the history of the school, because it didn't even start as a school. There were adults there. Remember, Mike was there, that older guy, right? Remember, he started it.
It started out helping out adults.
It didn't start out as a school. It started out as older people were there.
And then they would get their GED, and it started like that.
What I don't know is the accurate years that he was there, but what I can tell you with absolutely a shadow of a doubt, that blankets were still being used as a method of restraint and punishment in October 97 when I left. In 98 as well. Pretty much until the school was finished and the quiet rooms were done. So I don't know about that. Again, not banking on students that do absolutely know the history of the school. Right? I didn't need to get anybody to lie. And I would not do that. I will not. I don't have to lie. The truth is bad enough. And the fact that you don't see that is kind of alarming, right? It's alarming, honestly. I didn't have to do much of anything. I took your words and corrected the misinformation, clearly without sympathy or empathy for the actions that were taking place. But now that there's a case, right? Now that there's a case, you want to cover it, right? For money, right? Why weren't you at the court date? If you're so involved, why weren't you at the court date with the 40 students that were in the room and the 45, 50 that were on the phone? Why weren't you present for that? It's interesting.
My feeling there was that it's a tough place to be for the kids. But the kids got a good education. At least they were kept away from whatever they were sent there for, and so.
But there's good stories too. Look at Rudy.
There's so many good stories. Honey, I have so many. There's so many
right,
good stories.
And I won't use his real name. I'll call him Ron. Ron came there and he wanted to breed dogs in the backyard. Isn't he the one that wanted to do that?
Yeah, that was him. I was just saying.
And you know what he is now? He's an attorney.
Big-time lawyer, yeah.
But not only that, he opens all of these alternative, right? He's got all of those drug treatment recovery places. He goes all over the country for that.
I think he goes over the world.
All over the world.
Well, yeah, good. There's a lot of good people that work there.
What does he say? You know what he tells me? He tells me all the time, Carol and Jimmy saved my life.
Yeah. So I used to tell him. I say, so you're gonna breed dogs. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna sit there and put a couple dogs out back and just let them do their thing, and then when they still have puppies, you're gonna put a sign out saying puppies for sale. Used to joke around. I mean, because he was kind of a lazy bum at the time there, but he was good at school, and he did do enough, and he
There are good stories, right? There are many students that went on to live successful lives, but not without struggle. Not without struggle. It took a lot of deprogramming, right? Because we were fucked up in the head, right? The college acceptance rate, which is what their biggest flex was, most students dropped out and went back. My mom spent over $100,000 in the 18 months that I was there, and I have a GED. Do you want to know why I have a GED? Because I left in October 97, 3 months. I was supposed to graduate in January, right? Do you know why they withheld my transcripts so that I couldn't go back to high school? Over $300. $300 prevented me from completing high school after my mother had given them $100,000, and I walked away from that school. You know what I find to be more important than the students that went on to live healthy, productive lives? The ones that died, right? There's 140 names on that alumni death list, and those are the ones that we know of and can confirm, okay? That's 140 families that were ripped apart, right? Students that could no longer deal with the PTSD, the nightmares, the faces of their abusers with the flashbacks. That's what's important. That is why I'm here doing what I do, because they deserved better. They mattered.